Alrighty, how's it going, Mets and overall baseball fans? Guys, it is currently 2 p.m. Eastern time if you're watching the live stream or if you're listening wherever you get your audio podcast. This is an emergency Bleav in Queens episode because the New York Metropolitans have signed somehow, some way, and Carlos Correa. So we're going to be deep diving our raw reactions and analysis to Correa now in Queens and what it means for the Mets going forward. I know that we went live on the channel at 3 a.m. Eastern when this first transpired because Steve Cohen's out in Hawaii getting deals done like the absolute G that he is. So much to unpack from this. We are all so excited. A lot to get into. Shout out everyone here in the live chat. And of course, for people wherever you get your audio podcasts. And of course, I have to let you all know that today's show is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline is your number one source for all your sports betting needs. So make sure you head over to betonline.ag using promo code Bleav at BLEAV. That way you get yourself 50% off welcome bonus. BetOnline, it's where the games begin. And now, gentlemen, let's let the show begin. Raw reactions. Let me hear it right off the riff. I got to see it, guys. Give it to me.
Absolute scenes. Just absolute scenes. Shout out, Darren. I see you with the dono. I see you in the chat.
You, Darren.
Man.
I appreciate
absolute
that.
20 pounds, scenes. By the way. How does that correlate? I mean, is that like where's the pound stand nowadays? I'm just wondering. I don't even know.
I have no clue.
I want to say, I mean, it's close to 1-to-1, no? Or is it? It might be the euro. I might be off. But
I think it's close.
I'm going to go get some minced meat and some peas with that 20 pounds. I mean, fuck yeah, Darren. Absolute scenes, baby.
Thank you, Darren. I love you, brother.
I saw this at like 11:45 p.m. Cali time last night, and I was just like, my pulse just started racing. I was, I didn't know what to do. I was shocked. I thought that the Correa Giants breakthrough, I thought that was all just kind of BS. I thought that they were rumors. I didn't think it was actually going to fall through. And then I saw Tyler. I just logged on Twitter before bed. I saw an all caps tweet of yours, and I was like, oh shit, it just happened.
What about you, Rec?
I didn't see it till 6 a.m. because, like a good father, I was sleeping because otherwise I have no shot at waking up and helping my kids out in the morning. But yeah, I was stunned. I was shocked. I honestly didn't even know that he could still be negotiating with other teams, despite the fact that the presser had gotten postponed, because that was all I had heard. Like, oh, they postponed the presser. Okay, they're going through something. We'll hear something tomorrow, whatever. And then you wake up and it's not even like, oh, the Giants and Correa decided not to, they decided to split ways. Nothing. It was literally just Correa signs a 12-year, $315 million deal with the Mets. And like, I know, I mean, I didn't even know that could happen. I really didn't. Like, I was never going to sign one of those deals, but even when like in negotiating, like I never heard of those kinds of things happening. It's crazy. So to me, like, this just means the Mets were looking for a bat. They were looking for, an area where they could fit one, to be honest with you. And third base, we talked about this on the last spot. It was a prime position that you still had area to improve. We didn't know where or how or what it would be. We thought Correa was off the board, and sure enough, it's Carlos Correa. Defensively, I know his metrics weren't great last year at short, but at third base, dude should be great. And offensively, he brings a ton to this team. So to me, I guess it's weird. I start thinking about the last 2 years and the way things have played out since Steve Cohen took over this team. And it's, I knew things would be different. I didn't realize it would be like this. Like, I didn't realize that the Mets could legitimately be spending $500 million this year on their team. With their current payroll and their luxury tax number being reported roughly $495 million right now on this team.
And they're not
done.
That
is insane.
And they're not done.
That's the part that's if they're not done, like, I don't even know what to think. I don't know what to say. It's going to be interesting. I guess they could still add a bullpen piece.
They still
or two.
Want a reliever and another bat, according to reports.
Where's the bat going to go? Like,
it'll be like a fourth outfielder. Think Jerks and Profar, AJ Pollock types. That's what I'm thinking.
All right. Well, hey, I mean, the more the merrier, right? Like this, I feel for these Mets prospects because none of them are going to get a shot to play in the big leagues. Not yet. I mean, look, injuries can happen. The reason you stack teams like this is because you have no idea what's going to come at you. People handed the Dodgers the World Series last year before the season started.
Yeah,
that didn't get them anywhere. Stuff like stuff's weird throughout the course of a season. Things happen. Guys get hurt. you never know what's going to happen. And so you could have a different lineup than you're hoping for by the start of spring training. You don't even know what's going to happen. So the more great players, good players, everything that you can accumulate, the better. This just makes Buck Showalter's job, that front office is going to rest easier. Like, they're all just going to feel better about what they've put together, and they should, because this is starting to feel like that. I'll compare it. I hate to date myself, but Ken Griffey Jr. baseball, 98 was a game I used to play when I was a young guy. Yeah, I know, Tyler, we weren't even born yet. You could make trades. It was like one of the first games you could do that on. You could make trades and build a team. And I had like every great player available at that time on the team. And you couldn't go crazy. Like, it had to at least kind of make sense. So you'd have to make like 10 trades to get from a player who was okay to get to, at that time, a Barry Bonds or a Mark McGwire, whoever it was. Like, so you had to work your way there, but you could make incremental trades to get better. And so that's what I would do. And I made these ridiculous teams. That's what it feels like these Mets are now. Like, that's where you're getting. Is that good for baseball? That's a whole nother conversation. And Mets fans don't want to hear that. They don't care, because it's all about, we're going to win. And this is our team, and we don't care. And that's great. And I love that. I think there is a conversation to be had about what's going to happen down the road with new CBAs and how other owners are going to react.
Oh yeah, it's going to be.
I don't
so
think
bad.
any of it's negative towards the Mets. Not in my opinion. Not towards Steve Cohen. Not in my opinion. I know there's going to be people out there with those thoughts. To me, it's funny, but it is interesting. I mean, literally, you've got one guy, maybe two guys on this team. Obviously, two guys making $86 million plus that are going to be getting paid more than several other teams pay their rosters this year. And then this team comes in and scoops up a $315 million player in Carlos Correa, which is insane. So there's a lot of thoughts that just went through my mind, and I've been thinking about it all day, and I still can't believe it. It wasn't something I saw coming, despite the fact that it's been rumored, or that even, Steve had said last week that he, in interviews, we tried to get in on Correa late. I wish we had more of a chance, whatever. I hope that doesn't come around to bite him in any kind of a collusion type of a way. Like, he was talking and technically it still wasn't a deal. I don't know, but just
if it's
crazy.
A fine, Steve Cohen's going to wipe his ass with it. It's not going to matter. Seriously.
He'll just sign that check and here you go. I'm good. Yep.
I'm just really curious.
A lot of thoughts.
I really want to know what deGrom thinks of the vision right now in New York. I wonder if Jake is he's having a little FOMO right now, looking at what the Mets are doing.
Did he spurn this? Like, I
think he did.
Was that what it was? I mean, was this in the plans before he said what he said at his presser? Like, I don't think the Mets really wanted him back, right? Like, I mean, if they did, they would have paid him 5 years, $200 million, or 6 years, $240 million, whatever. I don't know. Clearly, like, and that's not to say I shouldn't say they didn't want him, but they didn't make him that priority. Well, they made, Nimmo that priority. They made Diaz that priority, and they made Correa that priority, which is pretty crazy. So it looks like if the Mets, which is funny because a couple years ago, wasn't it Springer that people were like, wait a minute, like, you can't go 6 for 150 Mets.
Yeah.
And
right.
They didn't. And then sure enough, I mean, that was a different GM at the time. Alderson had the reins, even though it was the same owner. Maybe there was different talks behind the scenes at that point, but clearly they're not going to stop for anything if they feel they can upgrade the roster. And this was the way they felt best that they could do it. And they did it.
Well, yeah. I mean, and the reason I bring up Jake is because, look, last year, obviously, Steve Cohen wanted to bring Steven Matz back. And for a lot of reasons, even though Matz really had his best year as a rookie in 2015 on the field, he had the feel-good stuff. He was involved with the community from Long Island, obviously. And Steven Matz was a guy who we just all felt like was going to be a Met for the long run. He takes a deal with St. Louis, doesn't even let the Mets counter. And how do we react? Cohen goes out and gets Scherzer. So that's why I bring Jake up, because, to your point, I think Jake absolutely did spurn this. It's like, he goes, signs off with Texas, done with the Mets, likes the vision or whatever he wants to call it down in Arlington. And all of a sudden we get Verlander, but that's seen as a replacement. We get Senga, now we get Correa. It's like it almost is like Steve Cohen says, all right, you guys want to insult me, you want to diss me, however, he views it. Let me go show you all what's happening in Queens.
So one thing that has really blown my mind out of this entire thing, you think about what are owners that have acted in such a manner, and there's only one guy that pops in my mind, and that's George Steinbrenner, right? And I, of course, wasn't around for his time when he was really being a madman. Of course, that's why they did the luxury tax back in the day for him too. So I didn't get that experience as a baseball fan, and now I'm seeing it here with Cohen. I mean, since Steve Cohen has become owner, I mean, just over the past 2 or 3 off seasons, he has spent double the amount of money as the next closest team in baseball. He's spent $1.6 billion in total contracts versus the Yankees, who've spent $833 million as the second team in all of baseball. This offseason alone, Steve Cohen has guaranteed contracts $800 million. This has never happened. This is unprecedented. That's why it's still so hard to fathom, right? Even when the reports were coming out from Heyman, I was like, please don't let this be an Arson Judge situation all over again to be first. I had natural concerns, but I'm like, this has to be it. This has to be real. And the whole buildup, I mean, we have yet to find out all the information about why everything fell out with Correa. Apparently, according to Scott Boras, reports indicate that the Giants had enough time to kind of, figure things out with the medical and get something done. And Boras is not the type of guy that wants to sit around and say, hey, yeah, we'll wait as long as you want. We'll give you further information, whatever you need. No, Boras doesn't act that way. And that's how Steve Cohen was able to swoop in again while he was in Hawaii to just continue conversations and get the deal done. And to this point, we know that's a 12-year, $315 million deal. I do see on Fangraphs, I don't believe this is accurate because I haven't seen further reporting on it yet. Again, I'm just mentioning it in case this ends up being true. On Fangraphs, it has that Correa can opt out after the 2023 season. So I don't know if that is accurate or not, but I thought I would make a note of that in case that is at all possible. And I don't know.
A 12-year deal with an opt-out after one?
Yeah, it seems bizarre. And that's why I'm not banking on it to be accurate. Yeah. I'm just simply relaying what Fangraphs is telling me right now. So
I would imagine that any contract details like that would be reported first,
right? That's what
you see it on Fangraphs.
Exactly. Yeah. That's my assumption as well. So I'm really not reading much into it.
Maybe they're just waiting for the physical to
seriously
pass before they.
Yeah, everyone was talking. We were all joking last night about, it's a cold feet situation, right? Correa wants to come here. You've seen memes. I'm in it as well on social media saying, "Oh, Steve Cohen's about to enter things again." Last thing I tweeted last night before. Inevitably, we saw that Correa was coming to Queens. This is all I'm thinking about right now, and it's a photo of Lindor and Correa together with Team PR. And then a couple hours later, it actually happened. So I'm going to be completely honest. For people that are listening audio, you might not know because I live stream when the news first happened. I feel like I'm hungover right now. Okay, I got like no sleep from this. I'm absolutely wired. Words cannot describe how ecstatic I am about this move for the Mets. Now that they have a star third baseman, the best third baseman they've ever had since David Wright in his prime, for the next assumably decade plus alongside Francisco Lindor. Could have been a whole team PR infield if Javi Baez didn't part ways. That's kind of a funny thought too. But I'm not complaining with Jeff McHitz there at second base. So, guys, for you, I would just say when you look at everything that the Mets have done so far and this historic offseason, that's why I look at that 30-minute interview Cohen had just a couple days ago with the New York Post, and he really seemed like he was bummed that he didn't get Correa. It really seemed like it was bothering him from what the wording was indicating. So Steve Cohen has truly done everything it takes to make this team better now, made the team on paper the best team not only in the NL East, but potentially in all of baseball. So I guess from here, just how do you feel as someone that has seen the Mets drastically changed this much over the past couple of years? Like, has it kicked in yet for you? Or does this really just feel like it's still like absolutely bizarre? It's still so hard to fathom.
Rec, I'm going to defer to you because I know that you're getting pressed for time here in a little bit.
To me, I kind of said it. I didn't even know this could happen. Like, I didn't know you could go down this route. I didn't know that he was eligible to negotiate with another team at the moment, 12 hours ago, 24 hours ago, whatever it was. So to me, you get that kind of initial shock. That's exactly what it is. Outside of that, I'm just looking at this team now from, I've always looked at things from a very, a different perspective, a very like minute perspective where, okay, what are they going to do next? But what's their long-term goal? Where are they going? How are they going to put it all together? Are they going to have the money to do what they really want to do? Are they going to bring up the prospects? Are they going to be able to develop those prospects? Like I tried to put it all together. Right. And to me, the biggest shock is that that doesn't matter with these Mets. Like
Yeah.
it really, I mean, I know people said that, and I know that that was a part of what people thought, when Cohen came in. I didn't believe it. I really didn't. I thought in some way there was still going to be some level where, okay, there's some, bar he just won't quite jump over, which realistically you probably shouldn't, but he doesn't care, and he just did. And so to me, that's where the shock is. It's okay, like everything I knew about baseball, the business of baseball, and how to do things in a sustainable way it doesn't matter anymore. Not with him, because he doesn't care. He's just going to spend the money and deal with the consequences later, which is interesting. I mean, I don't know how it'll play out. I guess for me, the one thing I'll say is hopefully this ends in a championship sooner than later, because the longer this could possibly go without one, it's going to be really weird to see what happens if they don't win it this year. Like it really is. How much is he going to spend next year? I mean, I don't know.
Shohei Ohtani's right around the corner.
Well, look, I mean, I definitely have a lot to say about Ohtani today, as I do every episode, because I think now our prospects are just that much more expendable.
Yeah.
But Rick, I did want to ask you that before you hop off. Where do you see the prospects going from here? Because Beatty and Mauricio, I mean, they're left side of the infield guys, and our left side is locked up for at least the next 8 years. So what do you see happening?
Yeah, we'll see how, the final details of this Correa deal. Does he have an opt-out anywhere? And whether he does, I would imagine there won't be one, but you never know. To me, you can go one of two ways, right? It's either you could use them to trade for other pieces to fill out this team, or, next year's team, because those guys are controllable for several more years now. A lot of the prospects you have, they're very young. Only a couple of them are even at that AAA level. And so realistically, you have a lot of time with some of these guys. So you either do that, or you allow them to continue to develop in a way where you stunt them a little bit, but they sit in AAA, they play, they get better. Hopefully they have the right attitude. And then you allow some of your current veterans who are getting close to that ARB or / free agency, you allow them to explore more options and leave. Is Pete someone who's irreplaceable from a statistical standpoint? Probably. Is he someone who's replaceable from a clubhouse standpoint? I don't know. That's for the Mets to decide internally. And so those are the kind of decisions you'll have to make. Jeff McNeil, is he someone you can replace when his free agency comes up? Potentially. And so, that's the kind of decisions they're going to have to make. So instead of paying him $20 million, you let Ronnie Mauricio or Brett Beatty or, whoever come up and play second, play third, play first. When there's injuries, these guys are going to get opportunities. Like Correa is not going to be healthy all the time. Lindor even isn't going to be healthy all the time. McNeil's not going to be healthy all the time. There's going to be opportunities for other guys to come up and step up and play. Escobar, maybe he's a little bit, maybe they could try to move him. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is, but with these prospects, I like the idea of holding on to them and just at least seeing what you have first and trying to give them opportunities when they present themselves until your hand is forced to move them. They're still going to have value even when your hand is forced. So you don't have to worry about that. And then you can, maybe you have more controllable pieces that you can keep around for a long time, an extended period of time. And just to me, that's how you extend your window of being able to continually win. That said, who knows with this team? I mean, Steve Cohen could say, yeah, trade them all. I don't care. I'll just keep buying everyone. And I mean, it's scary to think that this team I don't know what their average age is right now, but it's getting, it already was up there. Correa may have even brought it down at 30,
Yeah, I think
which is crazy. So to me, that's scary to think about, like consistent winning in October. So I don't know. I mean, we'll see how this plays out, but I like to think you keep as many of those young guys around for as long as you possibly can until your hand is forced to do something with them, move them, promote them, whatever it is.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I'm with you. I don't want to just dump these guys off for the sake of dumping them off. But I mean, if you can get Liam Hendriks for maybe one of them, not a whole ton of them, but one of them, obviously you guys know the big package that I want to put together. But yeah, I mean, I think now you can definitely just be really picky and choosy with how you use these guys, because you don't need. I mean, I don't see Beatty and Mauricio both being part of this team's future. Even if one of them moves to left field or second base, I don't see them both being a part of this team's future.
Agreed. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a fair point. And it's going to be very exciting, interesting. Talk about, an embarrassment of riches, the best problem to have. This is exactly why Steve Cohen has been spending as much as he has. So that way the Mets can be in a position where they can really build that farm. And then when that roster is out of comfortability with the guys on the field and what they've spent, then as the farm continues to grow, they're going to have such a stronger willingness to part ways with these kids, because they're going to have, continued success year after year after year. And then they're going to bring up kids as well. It's going to be a nice balance for a very long time. I'm fully aware of that. But yeah, we are going to get Anthony Recker out of here, because Rec, where are you going again?
I got a meeting now, and then I got to go do MLB Tonight at 5:30 to 7.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, make sure to tune in, guys, for MLB
Something
Network
tells me
tonight.
this might be a topic that we...
Yeah.
Rex going to be on MLB Network. They're going to be like, how do you feel? He's going to be like, I'm bricked up right now.
Rec,
I'm learning new words, the young lingo. Got to use
the
it.
lingo every day. It gets better and better.
Yeah.
At least
Good
now
luck
you'll know what
tonight,
your kids are talking about in 10 years.
Hopefully not for another 10 years. Yeah.
See you later, Rec.
All right, see you later, Rec. All right, guys, we have 1,000 live viewers here on YouTube. We got a bunch of donations. We'll be getting into it all. I feel like I still got to share a little bit more raw reactions to what the Mets did here, because, I mean, Joe, I don't know if you saw, but when I was covering this live as it was happening,
did you cry?
I was borderline crying. I'm not even lying.
Borderline? Because I didn't see it. I was
borderline.
The comments say you broke down.
Yeah, no, my body and mind broke down. I didn't physically all cry. My eyes were bawling, and I wasn't hiding it. Literally what happened, Borna FaceTimed me as soon as the news happened, and I was like, no fucking way. Like, I was just freaking out. I was on the phone with him. He was trying to calm me down a little bit. Shout out to Borna Hogwatch, and of course, a part of the Bleav network at Bleav in Chargers. So I was going through the waves of emotions when that was happening. I was telling him, I'm like, I was like joking, from Talladega Nights. I don't know what to do with my hands. I was all over the place last night, and I still am right now. I also got to see if the newspaper came out with Correa. I got to put him on the wall behind me alongside of Lindor now. Like, there's so many. I'm still so overwhelmed by this. I can't emphasize that enough. And last night, the crazy thing was we were following along to see if we would get further reporting from, Passan, Heyman, among others, but not Heyman, pardon me, Rosenthal. But that ended up not mattering when you saw Heyman come out with an article of him directly speaking with Steve Cohen. Cohen went on the phone with him first, which actually makes sense because they just did that 30-minute interview the other day. So clearly they have a strong relationship, and Heyman has really been a pro-Mets guy since he became for the New York Post. Hilarious in doing so, but yeah, man. I mean, just the fact that the Mets were able to get this done at 12 years, $315 million, $26 million, 0.3 AEV for the next decade plus. I don't even know what to say. I really don't. I mean, the Mets, this just changes everything for them. This changes everything for them.
Championships now. Because I'll tell you what, I mean, I do, and I'm not trying to sound like a pessimist here. I do have some concerns with all of these long contracts.
Absolutely, but that's down the road.
8-9 years from now. So
yeah.
Go win me 2 to 3 rings in the next 6 years.
Yes.
Because, there are some definitely questions with all these long contracts. But, hey, as long as they win championships, look, it's the kind of deal where if the Mets don't win a championship in the next decade, they're going to be killed forever. The history books.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
But if you go, and honestly, and I know that this sounds greedy because we haven't won since 1986. If you win 1 championship, they still might get shit on a little bit. Go win 2, go win 3. Like, you're making these moves to be a dynasty, not for a 1 season go all in. You're making these moves for continued sustained success to be a dynasty.
Yeah. I mean, look, you look at this infield now, it's all stars. Let's start there, right? I mean, we've looked at the Dodgers, they were locked to win all last year, right? Because they have an all-star lineup. Okay. Look at the Mets now. Outfield, you have Brandon Nimmo, who's one of the best center fielders in the game right now. Starling Marte, when healthy, is still a
Was an
damn good
all-star.
player.
He was an all-star this year.
Yeah, exactly. Mark Canha, same thing. I think it was kind of interesting how our last episode on Monday, Rex said that, we felt that Canha was maybe not as good as what expectations were from the home run rate, maybe, but I thought Canha exceeded expectations this past year, especially in playing not every single day. I really thought that he did a phenomenal job. And that entire infield, they're all-stars. Alonso, McNeil, Lindor, and Correa, and they're for different reasons. The Mets have such a good balance now from an offensive and defensive standpoint. I mean, all of us Mets fans wanted was one more bat. Okay, we would have loved a Correa, but we knew it was a pipe dream. Now we have this pipe dream become a reality, and they're still in the market for another bat, like in that fourth outfielder / DH type, which is absurd.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what about, because you mentioned Mark Canha and how Rex said, we can get even more production. It's true. We can get more pop. I thought he was very productive, but we can get more pop out of Canha for sure.
And we got it.
But you've seen a lot of like projected lineups, right? Obviously, whenever a team signs someone, it's like, hey, this is what their lineup's going to look like. Padres signed Bogarts, MLB Network. Hey, this is the Padres lineup, which, by the way, 1 to 4, as good as anyone. After that, a lot of holes, a lot of question marks. But you look at the Mets lineup, and obviously, there's question marks about Marte was the 2-hitter last year. Will they bump Lindor to 2? Will they put Correa at 2? 1 to 6 kind of a question. But I consistently kept seeing Mark Canha as the 7-hitter everywhere. And I think it's funny because I think one thing that makes us very lucky is, especially now with the DH being universal, I think Mark Canha is potentially like the best number 9 hitter in baseball. I think
for how he grinds out at bats, absolutely. Yeah.
Right. That's exactly my point. Like, he's not the worst hitter of a Mets starting 9. There's no guarantee what the catching position is going to do, what the catching position is going to produce offensively, right? Canha might even be a better hitter than Vogelback, even though he might not have the pop. But it's exactly what you just said. The way he grinds out at bats, the way he saw about 4.5 pitches per AB this past season, right up there with Nimmo, right up there with Guillorme in terms of not only the Mets leaderboards, but the MLB leaderboards. I think that makes Canha a perfect candidate to be a 9-hitter, a guy who will make a pitcher grind out an at-bat. You have protection knowing Nimmo is behind you in the on-deck circle. And Canha's got a little bit of speed. He's not like a burner. He's not like Nimmo, but, he's got a little bit of speed. He has a great eye. He's a good contact hitter. He doesn't strike out a lot. Like, I know it sounds a little weird to like look at this Correa signing and start thinking about the 9-hitter in the lineup, but I think it gives you so much more lineup flexibility where it's like, with the exception of the catcher position on certain days, if Narvaez or if Nito's in there, it's like there's 8 guys on the lineup that can get on base at any time, and you could flip the lineup. And then, the Mets have RBI guys in those top spots. Nimmo, led the team in RBI a couple of years ago, right? Marte, Lindor, all big RBI guys. So, just the lineup flexibility and depth that this Correa signing provides them with. That's what excites me so much is this lineup depth.
Yeah, the depth is through the roof now. And, let's just go smaller scale for a second. Third base defensively was not all that good last year. Eduardo Escobar is
not all that good. It was fucking terrible.
Yeah. But here's the thing. It was still better than some years past with the JD Davises of the world, the Todd Fraziers. I mean, the Mets have had straight mediocrity from a defensive standpoint and offensively too, since David Wright's prime days were done in Queens, dealing with all of his ailments, unfortunately, for Captain America.
And now Wright at the end, because of his injuries, had like no range.
Exactly. But now you think about Correa here. He is going to be perfect at third base, in my opinion. He has the size. He has the range. He was in the 70-plus percentile in arm strength this past year among players. Like, he is going to fit perfectly there at third, just like what he did when he played, of course, for World Baseball Classic alongside Francisco Lindor. I mean, let's not forget, an offseason ago, if you remember this, Joe, when he was first hitting the open market, he spoke in a Spanish interview and said how, if I'm going to play third base, it's going to be alongside Francisco Lindor again. And here we are a year later, and it's actually happening. I mean,
right.
Damn, it's crazy because we always joked about this. Same thing with Baez, like all of them together. Baez isn't happening, and that's okay though. Javi wishes he re-signed with the Mets in hindsight a year ago.
Yeah,
seriously,
he's enjoying Detroit.
Yeah, he's got FOMO for sure. But this Mets team now, let's just break down briefly Carlos Correa for people that aren't aware. Kind of one of the best infielders in all baseball, easily top 5 shortstop. And the Mets have now 2 top 5 shortstops in their infield. It's disgusting.
Fucking wild.
And I think one thing that stood out the most to me about Correa, aside from having that swaggy personality, you love him or you hate him, he's cocky as shit. We know that. But let's also not forget how great of a playoff Correa had in 2021 in his final year with the Houston Astros. Post trash cans, right? Correa was not one of those guys that strictly benefited from the cheating scandal that, of course, went on that we all know and are aware about there in Houston. He still put up phenomenal numbers afterwards, and there is nothing stopping this man right now. I mean, Correa this past year in his 1 year in Minnesota, 136 games played, 22 home runs, 70 runs scored, 64 RBIs, a 291 batting average, 366 OBP, a 467 slug, a 140 WRC plus, which weighted runs created basically means, how much better are you than the average player, and then a 4.4 WAR. Throughout his career, he's just been insane. A career 280 hitter, just has come up clutch so many times in postseason. Again, cheating scandal aside, and I think the championship pedigree that Correa has, knowing what it takes to win, being in deep runs, rekindling that relationship with Justin Verlander too. And I have a feeling that Justin knew a little bit ahead of time. You saw how glowing he was in his presser, right? So it seemed like he knew a little bit of what was happening there. So to see this all kind of come full circle now is nothing short of fantastic. And no one deserves this more than Mets fans. That's one more thing I will really want to get out there, okay? I feel for Giants fans. I feel for you guys. You had the worst offseason imaginable. You think you're getting Aaron Judge. You think you're getting Carlos Correa, and you get neither of them. I mean, that's a very Mets-esque thing to happen to us, right? Seriously, if this was the Wilpons, you think,
that
oh my God.
That was a Wilpon thing to happen, 100%.
Exactly, and that's how you know how much has changed with Steve Cohen here. But
by the way, MAB in the comments, I've been saying that for a long time, man. That's the exact trade I was hoping for.
What trade?
If we don't get Hendricks, Vientos for Diaz from Cincinnati.
Oh my God, yeah. If we got Alexis Diaz, Edwin's younger brother, my, he was nasty. He would be insane.
This hard on would never go away if we just keep adding guys.
The bricked up, we would have to make a t-shirt out of it at that point.
We might already have to make a bricked up t-shirt.
We have to make a lot of new merch with all these moves. That's for sure. We got to
get rid of the warm up Jansen shirt because now he's a Red Sox.
Yeah. But we got to get stuff for JV. We got to get maybe like an Aces type shirt. Him and Max, I think, would be a good idea.
Do we do a little Kate Upton shirt? I mean, chime in the comments.
We do.
You all want some Kate Upton merch?
I have a great Kate Upton idea, and shout out to my dad. I can't say it on air because I don't want it to be stolen, but we'll talk off air about it. I got a good idea when it comes to Kate Upton.
For sure. By the way, real quick, because you mentioned Correa in that interview and saying he would move to third to play with Francisco Lindor, right? They're countrymen. They're boys. It's like this just goes. I spoke about this last episode with regards to Kodai Senga, right? And with regards to deGrom leaving. It's like I want guys on this team who want to be New York Mets.
Yeah.
Right? Josh, I love that trade idea. I think you have to add a little more, but overall, I love that trade idea.
And guys, just so you know, we're going to get all the donations soon as we're getting closer to wrapping up the show. So
yeah, we'll do a dono rapid fire. I also kind of want to take some questions after I get this point out. But
for sure.
I want guys, and I said this with Senga, who want to be New York Mets. deGrom no longer wanted to be a Met. He, a lot of people had said he'd cut ties. He distanced himself from teammates, guys within the organization. He was checked out. I was talking with my dad, who of course works for the Mets, about this yesterday. And it was no inside information or inside knowledge my dad had, but it was just something that I think was obvious. We were talking about how deGrom might have had a problem with Scherzer coming in. And, I always said when we were watching games this year, right? Like Showalter was the manager and Scherzer was the next guy in charge. Yeah. Like, you always saw Scherzer and Showalter talking in the dugout. When Scherzer wasn't pitching, they were talking strategy. They were talking ball. And I think deGrom might have had a problem with Scherzer coming in, getting a record-setting deal in terms of AAV, and then day one being a leader, right? Jake was the best pitcher on the team for years, best pitcher on the planet when he's healthy, still is when he's healthy. But Scherzer came in, and all of a sudden, he was probably the most respected guy in that locker room.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that sat well with Jake. And that's okay. Right? I mean, we rag on him, we tease him. I saw people in the comments giving me a hard time about ripping on Jake. No, I love and appreciate everything Jake did. What I rip on is him saying he went to Texas for the vision and not the money. Because let's be honest, we all know it was the money. We all know that there's no vision in Texas greater than the vision in New York. But enough on Jake. Kodai Senga, Carlos Correa. These guys want to be Mets. And those are the guys that I want on this team. I think that that's the key to winning a championship. You know, you look at what the Phillies did last year. Those guys were bought in, right? Wardy, do you remember, everyone watching, everyone chiming in the comments, do you all remember seeing the Phillies in the dugout in the World Series, right? If Brandon Marsh hit a home run, if Alec Boehm hit I mean, Bryce Harper, I thought was the best teammate Bryce Harper's ever been.
As much as I despise Bryce, there's no denying that he is the ultimate player from a clubhouse standpoint and performance.
Like, he was the ultimate teammate this season. He's wasn't selfless about Bryce, and I think that's changed since he got to Philly.
Oh, yeah, he was a cocky mofo coming up now, and he might have that swagger still, but he's all about winning. He's all about team first now.
Well, yeah, swagger and cockiness is one thing. I love look, I mean, when I worked at Sirius XM, my nickname was Cocky Joe. I love cockiness. but it was selfishness in Washington that I saw from Bryce.
Yes.
Now he's the ultimate teammate in Philly. I mean, and Philly, that was an easy team to implode, right? Defensively, they sucked. Hoskins, Castellanos, Schwarber. I mean, that's an easy team. You could have turned on each other, blame game, this and there. But they had success. I think a big part of the reason that Philadelphia clicked at the right time was because everyone bought in and they were all cheering as loudly for each other as they were for themselves.
Yes.
And I think that this Mets team, I don't know if there's a selfish guy on this Mets team. Alonso, Nimmo, Lindor and McNeil. Look at the change from 2021 to 2022. They went from fighting over raccoons to being best friends.
Yeah.
Now you got Correa in the mix. You know, Edwin Diaz doesn't want to go anywhere else. Starling Marte is just trying to get Juan Soto to join the super team. Like, everyone here wants to be here. And I'm sorry, Wardy, I know I've gone on a while, but everyone here wants to be here. And I think that more than the salaries, more than the stats, that's what's going to lead ultimately to a championship or multiple. The fact that everyone is bought into this team.
Yes. And speaking of, being selfish versus selfless, Carlos Correa is a player that so many people out there hate, aside from the cheating scandal. They hate his cockiness. They hate that he really has come out. Let's be frank. I mean, we've seen how Correa has talked about himself and things of that nature. I mean, he's come off as a really cocky mofo that looks like he only cares about me, myself, and I. You'd have to imagine that element about himself, to a degree, is now gone, because a big portion as to why he's acting like this, I would assume, is because he was waiting to get his big payday. So, of course, he was focused on himself. He wanted to get that bag. Now he's got it, assumably for the next 12 years. So now it's just time to focus on being a great player, which Correa has, but now being that ultimate teammate. I've heard nothing but great things throughout the industry as well about Correa and being a great teammate. His perception from fans is just vastly different that we know about over the past couple of years. I mean, I don't even think he's physically allowed to enter California. And the Mets' first series, one of their first series this year is against the San Francisco Giants.
Yeah, they come out here, and the Dodgers, they come out to play the Giants, and don't forget how much the Dodgers hate Correa because they feel like that World Series was
They literally, when in part, did not pursue him fully because they knew that there would be fan backlash.
Yeah.
Like, what?
And that's all in April. The Mets come out here, Giants, Dodgers in April. I can't wait to. I might just, I'm not really into buying new jerseys anymore. I mean, I got my deGrom jersey, I wear my Piazza jersey. That's my favorite jersey. He's my favorite player of all time, right? I might get a Correa jersey just to wear it to Dodger Stadium. And I will get into a fight because Dodger fans suck. Y'all suck. But I might do it. I might wear a Correa Mets shirt and go to I already told my girl, I was like, babe, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday in April, mark your calendar. We're going to Dodger Stadium all 3 nights. She's friends with Joe Davis. I was like, call Joe Davis up. We're going to the games all 3 nights.
As you should. Love that. Yeah, I got a Lindor jersey before he signed his extension with the Mets because that's how confident I was that the Mets would get it done. Like right after they trade for him, I customized it right away, got it on a nice discount in MLB Shop. I'm like, great. Now I'm going to do the same with Correa, but I really want those Team Puerto Rico jerseys, especially the new ones that will be coming out for the World Baseball Classic. This is going to be.
I love PR and DR World Baseball Classic merch.
The best.
Yeah.
It's something not even close. But now we're going to get a taste of Correa and Lindor before the season even begins. So it's going to be a crazy buildup because that's how the infield's going to be for Team PR. You're going to have Correa at third again and Lindor there at short.
That scares me.
Yeah, I know you want to make sure they stay healthy. But again, I will say the tournament, it's only 10 days.
The World Baseball Classic scares me a lot more with pitchers than it does with hitters.
Yeah.
Because what's the difference between 150 or 160 games, right?
Yep.
pitchers, like, isn't Verlander pitching for Team USA?
Oh God, I didn't even think
That
about
kind of
that.
makes me shit bricks a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
That's what, because he's going to be the biggest hardo. The
Yeah, because
biggest
he's a
hardo.
fucking competitor, and that's why I love the guy. But yeah,
Yeah.
he doesn't half-ass anything.
Yep.
He's going to be pitching at the World Baseball Classic like it's the World Series.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I didn't even think about that regarding the pitchers. Yeah.
What's going on in this chat right now? People renaming their testicles? What the hell's going on in this chat?
I have no clue. I
just read a comment. By the way, guys, I love all these Ohtani trades, and nothing arouses me more than a hypothetical trade for Shohei Ohtani. But can we stop thinking that it's going to be like, I'm seeing Beatty, Mauricio, and McGill. I'm seeing Beatty, Mauricio, and Carrasco. It's going to be like 5 players, all right? It's probably going to be like Beatty and Mauricio, probably both of them, maybe one of them. Kevin Parada is going to be in there. I mean, it's going to be 2 pitchers. It's going to be 4 to 5 players. A Beatty/Mauricio, if not both. A Parada, a pitcher,
David
or 2.
Pearson or Tyler McGill.
Chris, I'm really glad that I got you bricked up too, Chris. Shout out Chris Sullivan in the chat.
You know what? Let's start to get some donations again. Shout out everyone here in the live stream.
Guys, if you have questions, throw them in the chat. I want to get to some of these, but Wardy, I'll let you run the donos since that's your money. You don't give me a fucking penny.
I'll give you a cut after the show, okay?
I got a fucking parking ticket this morning, Wardy. All right, I got $70 parking ticket.
This is what happens when you live in LA. You hate to see it. You hate to see it.
I think I was like 14 feet away from a fire hydrant, and I got 15 feet within 15 feet.
You go to hell for things like that. You realize that?
I'm going to hell anyway, Wardy. Come on.
You're basically there in LA already. Doesn't really matter.
Fucking cops in Brentwood.
All right, let's get to some donations. But before we do, I want to shout out
$800 to fly to New York to see my family for Christmas. I need a fucking parking ticket like I need a hole in the head right now. Guys, speaking of 800, let's get the show to 800 likes. Continue smashing that like and subscribe on. Greatly appreciate. Thank you all so much for the support, guys. Again, this is the second show we've been doing on the channel over the past 12 hours or so. I think so within the past 12 hours. I can't do math because we went live at 3 a.m. For people wherever you get your audio podcasts, again, breaking news as we've been discussing the massive signing for the Mets and landing their now star third baseman and Carlos Correa on a 12-year, $315 million deal. Joe, what's happening? Trade proposal for Shohei Ohtani. Brett Beatty, Ronnie Mauricio, Eddie Escobar, James McCann hit for shit. A hot dog, some peanuts, and a signed swimsuit picture of Kate Upton.
Who says no? No?
Taking that deal. Goodness. All right, Wardy, let's hit the donos.
All right, Juan Diaz with the $5 holla. Thank you so much. Great memory. Says, you can build an all-star team in MLB The Show and win a championship. Game creator Uncle Steve. Hold my beer. Yeah, literally, dude.
I like Juan Diaz a lot.
Yeah, Juan's been a supporter on the channel for a very long time, so always appreciate seeing his comments. Ed, thank you for the dono. He says, are we now better than last year? Yes, the Mets are better than last year. And here's the thing.
Yeah, baby.
Here's the thing. Prior to Correa, on paper, the Mets still had assumably around a 100-win team for next season. Now they just added Carlos Correa. They still want to bat. They still want a reliever. It's been widely reported, especially that we've seen him recently from Michael Mayer, Mets Rise, that dropped earlier this morning. Dude, the Mets are likely going to get a corner outfield bat, split time McKenna. It's going to be one of, I'd imagine, unless it's a trade, and it could be a trade, because I have heard rumblings about the Mets are going to acquire a bat via trade. That could be wrong. Jerks and Profar for agency, right? Adam Duvall, Michael Conforto, even though I don't see Michael happening right now, and AJ Pollock are the main guys. Trey Mancini is really not going to play the outfield, so I don't see that really much as a fit. But the Mets are still destined to land one more bat. To what degree, we don't know. And they're in the market for a reliever. And as it was reported yesterday, they are in the market for all-star closer, the baddest Aussie on the planet in Liam Hendriks. I mean, Joe, just the thought of this bullpen, if they somehow pull off a trade for Hendriks, it's the best in baseball. Like, you just talk about re-signing Adam Ottavino for the podcast. Yeah, the Mets did that too. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. 2 years, $14.5 million deal.
And by the way, did I not say this last episode? Especially, I was trying to sway Rec because we all know how Rec feels about Ottavino. And to an extent, I agree. Ottavino on a World Series team is probably not your, I don't want to say 8th inning guy because now we've moved away from that a bit. He's probably not your second highest leverage bullpen guy on a World Series winning team. Yeah. Ottavino is now our 4th highest leverage guy. And if we get a Liam Hendriks or an Alexis Diaz, he's like 5th. I mean,
Yeah.
it's Diaz, it's Robertson, it's Raley, it's Ottavino. To have Ottavino as your fourth highest leverage guy, sign me the hell up. That's a great signing.
Yeah, and the Mets just fortified their bullpen, but still looking for more. It's so great to see them do that. And again, the Mets got him at around what Seth Lugo got with the Padres. So I'm like, sign me the hell up. It wasn't 10 years, $20 million. It's 7.25 mil each year for 2 years because he has a player option after the first year. He's not opting out of that deal. I highly doubt it. He's a New York native. It seems like he really wanted to be here. And that's, again, the best sign.
Right.
Also, shout out to Trevor May because he did chime into the live stream yesterday when we were talking about Adam Ottavino. That was really cool. So shout out to May. Hope you're doing well. Wishing you all the best there in Oakland. Liam with the dono, however, says, Steve Cohen really said, and I quote, "You want vision? I'll show you vision." No, literally. Yeah, Steve Cohen is a god amongst men, is what Steve Cohen is. Andrew, thank you for the $10 holla. He says, even though they spent a bunch, all the contracts are good value. They didn't do George like buying over the hills for players and huge money. The contracts are all justified, and they are justified. That's true. I think, in all fairness, from an AAV standpoint, Correa absolutely is perfect. But when you look at the term, at least, Correa is the only deal I think you could argue with Steve Cohen where, while it's justified, yes, this is a luxury. Okay, this was not a team need. This was a luxury.
Agreed.
Okay. I don't think you can view it any other way as that. This is an embarrassment of riches now for the Mets and the depth that they have.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, yeah. Third base, Correa is a massive upgrade over Escobar or Beatty, but, they could have held it down. They still had a really good 1 to 6 in the lineup, and the bottom mix and match, Vogie, Escobar, Beatty, catcher position, but yeah, this is just stupid.
Stupid indeed. Learn Crypto with the $5 holla. He says, Reds embarrassed the Yanks in 76 Fuel George to get Reggie. This is similar for Cohen. Yeah. It really is. That's fair. I mean, from the Mets falling short in the wild card to then Jacob deGrom parting ways, this is the exact fuel of fire that the Mets needed. And I think we're going to look back on the Mets and how great of a 2021 season was that fell short and know that that was the best thing to ever happen to this franchise. I truly believe that with everything Cohen has done. I feel very confident in what the Mets are doing right now. It's hard not to be when you casually just drop $800 million on guaranteed contracts in one offseason. Like, dude, like what? Like,
Uncle Stevie, can you pay my parking ticket, man? It's $70.
Seriously.
A fucking hot dog's about to cost $70 at Citi Field. Could you pay the parking ticket, man?
Here's the thing I will say. While I expect things to still get a little bit more expensive, more so because of the demand than I think it will be because of the contracts. But like that's really alluding to my point. Like, this isn't a situation, where beers are going to be at minimum $40 now because of all the spending. Like, Cohen has the money. He's just dipping into his own personal thing aside a little bit now. I mean, the New York Post, when they came out their interview with Cohen, they said, that the belief was that Cohen could lose $200 million with the Mets for the next decade, and it won't phase him one bit.
No. And Cohen, and I said this 2 years ago, and I'll say it again now, he's not doing this to make money. If the Mets win, he will be profitable. But he didn't buy this team to profit immediately. He bought this team because he's got an ego, and you can't fault him for that. We all do to an extent. He's got a big one, deservedly so, and he wants to win. He's a diehard Met fan. He wants to bring, I think it's an equal mix of he wants to be responsible for bringing the first championship since 1986 to this club, and also he just wants to see this team win. And so he says, fuck it, I have the means. I'll do it myself. I'll make it happen myself.
Oh, yeah, Joe, just fix your mic real quick. It just can't, like, right at the end of your sentence, it just got a little messy. Dan with the $5 donation, he says, Uncle Steve is the GOAT and the new public enemy #1, but we aren't here to mess around. Now go get a chopped cheese the Aki way to celebrate. That is fucking hilarious. Pardon my French. Oh, my gosh. Sure. If you guys know.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back. Oh, that cracked me up, Dan. That was great. That really was. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's see what else we got here comment wise. Again, what's up? Shout out to Grant at Jenny Mets. Make sure to follow him on Twitter at Jenny Mets. Awesome Mets fan. Great page. Make sure to check him out.
Shout out Psychopat in the comments. Go Bonnies, baby.
Go Bonnies. Yeah, man. Dude, this.
I love our viewers. I really do love like 99.5% of them.
Oh, they're awesome. And again, this goes in hand with what I was saying. as a content creator covering the Mets since Steve Cohen first became owner, I've dealt with a wide variety of every type of fan that you could possibly imagine I've interacted with, whether we agree or disagree, that's separate. Point I'm trying to make is that no Mets fan deserves Steve Cohen more, than Mets fans overall, because think about everything that they went under with the Wilpons, right? I'm a young 22-year-old. You're a young 24-year-old. Yes, we haven't seen much success with the Mets growing up, but at the same time, we're young as fans, okay? We aren't the diehards that have been around for, say 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 plus years and have followed this Mets team and have seen nothing short of mediocrity for the longest time. Seriously, outside of what we saw in the 60s and outside of what you saw in 86, there has not been a whole lot of great things happening in Queens for a very large portion since their existence started 60 plus years ago. So I think for everyone that has been involved in this Mets fandom that has been pessimistic over the years and felt that, there's no reason to follow this team anymore. Oh, I'm always going to be against this team. Oh, they're going to choke. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. They're never going to spend. They're never going to make these moves. It's finally all coming the Mets way, the way that us fans have been wanting. And it's just so amazing to see. That's my biggest takeaway out of all of this. I mean, thank God for Steve Cohen. He has truly changed the lives of so many people, including myself, who cares about the Mets more than most things in life. I cannot emphasize that enough. Let's see. And thank you for the compliments in the show, guys. Greatly appreciate it. Continue smashing that like and subscribe button. It really does mean a lot. And yes, I did nearly cry. I didn't cry to the point where, again, I was shedding tears everywhere, but my eyes were bawling like a mofo when I was doing, because I was shaking. I was in shambles. I didn't expect this. There was no prep. We thought Carlos Correa was a San Francisco Giant 24 hours ago, Joe. We all thought that.
Dude, I can't believe you were awake when this news broke.
Yeah.
It was 11:45 for me in LA, but 2:45 in the morning? What the fuck? Get some sleep.
I know. I'm usually up till at minimum 2 a.m. each night throughout the off season because of news. I'm not even lying.
Chris Sullivan, I love this guy.
What did Chris Sullivan say?
Those were happy tissues next to Wardy.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah. You know why, Chris? Because we're bricked the fuck up.
We're bricked the fuck up. And shout out Wrecker for not knowing what bricked up meant until we're just about to start the live show. He's such a good dad. We love Wreck. He's perfect, just the way he is.
Fucking wild.
Why would anyone bow to a garbage billionaire? Because of your team? 100 fucking percent PG. Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. Yes. That's what you do when you're a diehard fan. Yep. Do I think that Steve Cohen has probably done some shady shit? Absolutely. Do I care as a Mets fan? No. The same way that any other diehard fan has very little care. If it's not impacting me in a negative way, I'm sorry. I don't care. Really don't care. I'm going to enjoy every second of this. I really am.
Dude, and I'll give Buster only credit for this one. Our entire infield, he tweeted this earlier, has made at least 2 all-star appearances. Our entire infield. And our number 1 and 2 starters are both first ballot, should be unanimous Hall of Famers. It's fucking nuts.
It's absurd. It's still absolutely absurd. It really is. And Buster, I despise Buster. I'm sure he was probably in shambles by this move a little bit. Still, I'm not going to lie. Buster is as big of a freaking Braves homer as you will find out there. We're just trying to.
All right, we got Rosenthal. Rosenthal's the Long Island native. Yeah, we got Rosenthal. We got Heyman. Buster can go fly.
I mean, Heyman is being too biased now since New York.
Well, Heyman is
yeah.
It's Uncle Stevie,
especially because Steve, you don't understand. Steve going to Heyman first with this changed Heyman's life drastically. I mean, he was a guy that had was losing reputation fast to gaining so much of it back. I see a report right here.
Rafael Devers no, I'm messing with you.
No. From Michael Marino, who does a great job as an independent reporter covering the Mets and MLB, says that Mets and White Sox see each other as a great fit to make a move. If they were to decide to go down that route, amongst the names that have been mentioned as possible options in any trade are the following: Liam Hendricks, James McCann, Mark Vientos.
I'm not even thinking twice about that.
Dude, if they take McCann back, could you imagine if they take McCann back, dude? That would be the most absurd thing imaginable. Oh, my God.
I'm not even thinking twice about McCann and Vientos for Liam Henry.
Can you imagine? That would be absurd.
Last episode, I was saying I miss Colin Holderman. Colin Holder, who? I mean, if we're talking Vientos and McCann, throw in a bag of balls for Liam Hendricks. Oh, man.
What a time to be alive.
I don't get this kind. There's a reason Wardy doesn't have kids. Yeah, he's fucking 22 years old.
Yeah, thank God. Knock on wood. We're doing okay so
Have
far.
you seen the economy? You think either of us can afford kids?
Dave, thank you for the donation. Shout out to you, Dave. We love you, my man. He says trade for Devers, not going to happen. Move Correa to second base, McNeil to left, get Hendricks, Alexis Diaz, and Conforto. Hell yeah.
Seeing a lot of Devers talk in there, guys. I mean, look.
I love you, Dave. Devers is not happening, and that's perfectly okay.
I know I'm beating a dead horse with this Ohtani stuff, but Devers would require a package that would probably take us out of a trade for Ohtani. I know
in the scenario that you want to trade for Ohtani, yes.
Right, and I know we can always go and sign him. I know he's going to be a free agent and all that, but Devers is not a need. Ohtani, forget the bat. Obviously, we can still use a DH. Like, you can't. I love Vogie. You can't compare Ohtani and Vogelback. But also, we have two of our top two starting pitchers are going to be gone probably after the next 2 seasons. We need long-term starting pitching answers. Carrasco's on a 1 year. Scherzer, Verlander got 2 years left. Like, I love Devers. I'm all in for the win now. Get Ohtani because you need pitching now and in the future. So I think 100%. Devers is just off the table.
Yep, I agree with that one. Walshay, thank you for the donation. He says, hey, Wardy, first off, Correa's a Met. Second, want to know how you feel about the backing up of our youth, where red hot Mauricio fits in Beatty. Yeah, I mean, well, we've already kind of expanded on that a little bit. Wrecker shared his thoughts earlier in the show, but just to recap, the Mets, again, they're in the best. This is the best possible problem to have for them now. Because, again, Mauricio, who just, of course, won the player of the Dominican Winter League that we just saw, was raking there, did a phenomenal job. He's someone that may be in the fold for the Mets in the future as soon as this upcoming season, maybe at DH, maybe in the corner. I would say for the Mets, again, you want to try to see what you have in these kids still. And then when the time is right, if they don't have a proper fit on the roster and the timing is right to make a move for an Ohtani or something in the next couple of years, let's not forget, there are some huge pitchers that are set to hit the market in the next 2 years. Could the Mets maybe go out a year from now, per se, and go and trade for a guy that's a rental or a guy that has 2 years of control left? This is where the Mets are going to get very creative on how they evaluate things. Because, again, Mauricio Beatty, I don't see them both having a future in Queens. And I'm not too high on the idea of either of them as of now, just because there isn't a fit. They're going to have to play their way in. And maybe they will. I love Brett Beatty. I'm very pleased with what I've seen from Ronnie Mauricio. He's surprised a lot, including myself. And I like
him more, by the way. For the record, I like Mauricio more than Beatty. Personal preference.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I'm the opposite. I like Beatty more than Mauricio. And that's okay, though. You know, that's again, good problem to have when it comes to debates like this. The Mets have two very talented young players, and we'll see whether or not they have a future here in Queens. But thank you for the dono. I appreciate that. Brady with the $5 donation. Thank you so much. He says, I became a Mets fan 2 years ago when my guards traded Lindor. Last straw for me. And needless to say, it's been a great decision. Keep up the good work. See, and wouldn't you agree, Joe? This is a fair transition to hop on a said bandwagon because he's going from being a Guardians fan, which what do? They don't spend. He's dealt with some nice, exciting teams in Cleveland, but they really haven't been able to get over that hump because they're always cap strapped. So I would say if you're going to be a bandwagon and you hopped on the train as soon as Lindor came here, I accept you. I think that's okay. I had some people chiming into my show earlier in the morning about Correa saying, you know, I'm done being a Giants fan. I'm hopping on the Mets wave. That's where I have more of an issue, personally. Like,
you can't go Giants to Mets. I fucking hate the Giants. you can't go Giants. No, National League, you can't do it. Cleveland, I've always liked the Guardians. Or I mean, back when they were the Indians, like I was a sophomore in college. Me and my buddy did a day trip. It was like 3.5 hours each way. We went to Indians-Yankees game 5 of the ALDS to just root against the Yankees, to root for Cleveland. Bought a Lindor. I have a Lindor Indian shirt.
That's awesome.
And I'm only saying that because that's what the team was named at the time. But yeah, I mean, I know a couple Guardians fans, like the guy who ran the sports department of my college radio station before, so he was a senior. I was a freshman. He picked me to replace him. He's a huge Guardians fan, but his second team is the Mets. Lindor, Carrasco, Tyler Naquin. I mean, it's like, yeah, that's I think an easy pairing for those two. I mean, plus I root for Rosario and Jimenez. I don't have anything against those guys. I root for my guy Josh Wolf, new addition to the Bleav network.
True.
Like I want Cleveland to be great. Yeah.
Yeah, no, beautifully said there, Joe. We got a couple more donos before we wrap things up. Has Frank from Barstool say this team only going to win 60 games yet? I have not seen it. Oh God, Joe.
Not
Frank,
diabetes.
Frank the Tank.
Sorry.
For those that don't know, yeah, he's quite the Mets fan. He's so frustrating because he is a diehard Mets fan, and people think that how he acts is like a shtick, but it really isn't. That's the bizarre thing. He's just in his own little world. I hope for Frank's sake and for his health, he finally starts to show more optimism. He shows
his health flew out the window a long time ago.
I know, but I mean, at this point, you might as well just try to salvage anything and everything you still have.
Oh, good. I got Grant laughing in the comments. I'm glad. Grant, I didn't realize that I didn't follow you. I know you took a shot at me before. I apologize. Your tweets always pop up in my feed, so I just assumed I followed you because I see your tweets more than anyone else's. But I got you, buddy. I'm glad I made you laugh.
Shout out to you, Grant, again. Let's see if there's anything else in here. I think we're going to wrap up the show in a minute or two. So, Joe, I mean, unless you want to get to some more comments, I mean, let me hear your final thoughts on all this. Carlos Correa is a New York Met, dude.
Dude,
like,
I'm stoked. I want more comments. I love the interaction today. I love this fan base. No, I know you're messing with me, Grant. You're all good, man. I love these comments. I love the fan base. Like, yeah, if you guys have any questions, keep them coming. What's Keto got for me? Ohtani, yeah, good point. Devers, he doesn't bring much defensively. So if we miss on Ohtani, yeah, I'm with you there. I think if we, by the way, the whole trade for Ohtani thing is because if we do that trade, we're extending him. Just like Lindor. Like, there was never a doubt.
Absolutely. Yeah.
There was never a doubt Lindor. And Tyler, I mean, you said it. Like, you knew before we all knew Lindor was going to sign an extension with the Mets. So there was never a doubt there. The same thing with Ohtani, especially now we got Senga, we got Billy Epler. Yeah, man.
Thank you for the dono, my brother. I appreciate that one. But yeah. I see a lot of people have talked about Brian Reynolds now as a potential trade fit because the Mets have assets if they want to do that. But as good as Brian Reynolds is, it's just not as much of a need for how costly he's going to be, in my opinion. I've heard rumblings that Reynolds is going to command like a Soto-esque type trade, and I'm like, no, I'm okay.
No, that would be loon. I mean, look, Rec loves him, and he's great. Brian Reynolds is great, and you put him in a lineup.
Yes,
you put him in a lineup with protection. I don't think we've seen his peak because he's in a lineup full of schmucks. I mean, you put him in a lineup with protection where he's not the best hitter, where he can be the 5th or 6th best hitter in the lineup, and I think his ceiling is tremendous. But it's not worth it. I don't think it's worth it. Like if I'm gonna blow up our farm system, I'm doing it for one guy, and I'm sorry, I'm not doing it for Devers. I'm doing it for one guy. It's just Shohei.
It is.
And Keto, to your point, jump the market. Don't let it become a bidding war with the Dodgers. Trade for him and fucking extend him.
And that's my biggest argument that I've been saying for Ohtani. Like, even when we were talking about Devers, again, amazing talent. Rafi Devers would be sick in Queens. He would be sick anywhere, But point stands is that if Devers is going to be available by the deadline, you're going to, again, have to give up those similar assets that you would have to give up for Ohtani. So it's not worth it, in my opinion. I think Ohtani absolutely needs to be the top priority.
Yeah.
By the way, this is also breaking news. This is not Mets related, but is related to our New York Knicks. The NBA has taken away Knicks 2025 second-round draft pick due to tampering with Jalen Brunson. So hopefully we don't see anything similarities when it comes to the Mets and Correa. I don't think we're going to.
Second-round draft pick. What are they going to do? Take some guy from Slovenia who never plays in the NBA?
Exactly. Brunson's amazing too. I'm not complaining there.
Yo, he's exceeded my expectations. I was not a fan of that. I was all in on Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, he's rounded out this team, dude.
I did not want Brunson. I thought that when we signed him, that took us out of Donovan Mitchell, and I'm still unhappy about that. I love Donovan Mitchell. Why? Because Donovan Mitchell loves the Mets as much as you and me, Wardy.
Yes.
And so
and his father works in the Mets organization.
Yeah, I mean, I used to see his dad all the time when I worked there. His dad's a nice guy. And Donovan Mitchell, by the way, Mets and Guardians, they go hand. There's just a weird thing, like, you can't not like the Guardians. we were all rooting for him against the Yankees in October.
Yep. You're not wrong. Mitchell's going to be a Nick in 2 years, though, when his contract expires. So I hope you're aware
Is it 2 years? It's not longer?
It's 2 or 3. 2 or 3. I know that. He's 100% going to be a Nick. It's just a matter of time.
I wish we had him right now. I love Donovan.
He's been so vocal about wanting to be here, too. That's the main thing. Like, he's not hiding or shying away from it.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. Brother Bry with the proposed lineup. Nimmo, Marte, Lindor, Alonso, Correa, McNeil. I'm almost curious, like, do you flip-flop Correa and Marte? Marte was great in the 2 spot. Do you drop him to 5 and bump Correa up to 2?
Yeah, I mean, Correa has been historically, batting towards the top of the lineup. But again, if the Mets want to deepen things a little bit,
we have a lot of 3 hitters. Like Marte, Lindor, even McNeil to me is like a 3 hitter.
Yeah. Yeah, Nimmo, Correa, Lindor, Alonso, McNeil, Marte, Vogelback, and Nito Canna. It's a nasty lineup.
I actually wouldn't do Correa at second with the new shift rules, and here's why. Because you need 2 guys on each side. I would leave McNeil there and put Lindor like as close to second base as you legally can when a lefty's up, and just have Correa play shortstop. You now have the luxury of a third baseman who is a shortstop. And I think that if you just have Correa in the hole and Lindor up the middle, I think that that's actually perfect. So I would leave Correa at third. He's also just got a cannon. I don't want to waste that arm at second. But McNeil can't play third. I love Jeff McNeil. He can play second. I mean, as good as anyone, I would say.
Yeah, third has not been his strong suit. We've seen
he sucks at third. McNeil, J.D. Davis, they were absolute disasters at third base. I'd rather have McNeil at second, left, even right field than third base. I mean, he plays the corners well. He plays second well. He cannot play third base. I don't ever want to see Jeff there again.
Yeah, agreed. And it's awesome knowing that the Mets have stability at that position. You know what Correa reminds me a lot of at third base? Even though that this man is really not playing at third now, but it makes me think of like prime Chris Bryant. He's got the size, he's got the range, and he's better defensively. So
way better defensively.
I'm
way
very
better.
I'm really, really happy with Correa and just the willingness to shift to third right away. And again, this is the benefit of having Francisco Lindor. Lindor does that to him, Mofo.
Dude, Lindor draws people here.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Anything
Hold on.
else?
Let's see what else is in the comments here. Bear with me, everybody.
Escobar can DH, especially when lefties are pitching. He's got a little more pop from the right side. Justin, exactly. Correa's arm would be completely wasted at second. It's going to be a fun. Someone just said, and we've made this joke, like it's like playing MLB The Show. It's not, because you're salary capped in the show. Like you have limits in the show.
Yeah, this breaks MLB The Show.
Not like playing MLB The Show.
Because it's not like you're doing trades. This is all just
salary cap mode off. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Best with how this Mets team is on paper.
Mikey Godin, no. I love Hendricks, but I'm not sold on Eloy and Ramirez for me.
I love Eloy Jimenez as he would be DH. So
I wouldn't trade Beatty and Alex Ramirez for him.
Oh, I agree. 100%. Alex Ramirez cannot go anywhere. He's the future of the Mets outfield.
Right. Alex Ramirez is the one guy I'm not including in a trade for Shohei.
Especially after trading PCA. Ramirez even has higher upside. That's how good Alex Ramirez is.
Nimmo will play center field for at least another 3 years.
Yep.
But Ramirez will play center field and Nimmo will move to the corners towards the tail end of Nimmo's contract. Ramirez cannot go anywhere. And I know you could all say, well, we could just buy another center fielder. But at some point, to sound like Anthony Recker, at some point, you're going to need a cheap, controllable guy. And to me, Ramirez, more than Beatty, more than Mauricio, is that guy.
Yeah. No, I agree with you on that one. Someone comment here was kind of looking forward to the rookies getting some time this year. And again, they very well still can. It will be more limited, though, I would say. Francisco Alvarez is the top rookie to watch when it comes to playing time for this upcoming season. Especially because McCann's out of here. It's just a matter of when, not if, when. He is not going to play another game with the New York Mets. I promise you. Same thing with Darren Ruff. He's out of here. He's not going to play a game with the New York Mets again. They'll part ways with him without a problem. So Alvarez is that one guy who, again, can very well get good amount of time at DH, can get time reps at catcher with McCann being gone. And Beatty is that interesting one for me. Vientos, I don't. I almost want to say Vientos' time in Queens is already done. Like,
he's the one guy I would trade for a reliever.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I would trade Brett Beatty or Ronnie Mauricio for a bullpen arm. I would.
And here's the thing, though. I don't get why the White Sox would do it. Why would the White Sox go and acquire Mark Vientos when they already have multiple guys that are really that DH position, led by
would Vientos be their Jose Abreu replacement?
No, because they're having Andrew Vaughn at first. And Andrew Vaughn's good.
Who's their third baseman? I'm blanking right now.
Yo Moncada.
Oh, right.
And he's been up and down. I love Yon.
He's been up and down, but he's got high upside.
Yeah, he still has upside.
Easy buckets, 100% right. It's not just that he's a billionaire; it's that he's emotionally invested.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe Vientos DH play first. It depends how you view him and Vaughn. I don't think Vaughn, like Moncada, I think has a higher ceiling. I don't know if Vaughn definitely has a higher ceiling than Vientos. Vientos could be one of those guys who leaves New York and mashes. I don't see Vientos being a Met. His swing was long. I didn't like his swing.
My brother hates his swing. He always mocks it every time we talk about it. And I like Vientos. I don't have it well with him. He grew up a Mets fan too. It sucks. It's one thing that always pisses me off, like from a personal standpoint. You were supposed to be the chosen one, like this.
I like the homegrown guys, I do, but I mean, I like rings.
Yeah,
I like rings more.
I wouldn't know what having a ring is like.
I want my dad to get that damn ring. I mean, personal interests. We also got a bottle of Johnny Walker Blue that we've been waiting to open since 2015.
Oh wow.
That was a gift from a fan to my dad, and we've been waiting to open it since 2015. And we said when they win a World Series, we're going to open this. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's smart. Yeah, I should do something like that with my dad.
Oh you got to do something.
Smart idea.
Who would be a better option at catcher? That's actually a good question. Shout out Gensley Richard. I hope I pronounced your name right. Alvarez or Parada? Wardy. I mean, there's no right answer to this one. What do you think?
No, I mean, Alvarez, he's the top prospect in baseball right now. So naturally, I have to say him because he's
further along than Parada.
Yeah, but I'm saying Alvarez, isn't he the same age as Parada? Because Parada
they might be the same age.
Parada might even be a year older.
Yeah, because Parada went to college, went to Georgia Tech.
What I mean, for Alvarez just being a 21-year-old.
Every girl at every ACC and SEC school in the Southeast, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah.
You saw that.
Parada's a dog. Right? Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I've seen all the controversy with him on social media when he first got drafted by the Mets for that reason.
Yeah. Some call it controversy. Some call it legendary. Some call it legendary controversy. I mean,
it all depends on who you're talking to.
Perspective is key in life, right?
Yes. But Alvarez, I would say Alvarez is the guy right now. Here's what I think. I think Alvarez is more likely to be a DH down the road in the second half of his career, whereas Parada has more athleticism. He's so athletic to the point where the Mets don't want to keep him at catcher. He can actually really be considered for the corner outfield.
Can he play left?
Yeah, he can. So that there's a lot more optimism on the athletic side with Parada than there is Alvarez. But when it comes to pure hitting, pure stuff, Alvarez is the guy.
Alvarez just hits the ball 500 feet.
I know, and it's crazy because Parada is also known for that too. That's why he skyrocketed in the draft this past year because he just absolutely killed it. So
yeah, I don't know. Look, there's no right answer because at the end of the day, they're all prospects, and we don't know. They could both be Hall of Famers. They could both be busts. Yep. There's no right answer. If I'm GM, I'm keeping Alvarez, and I'm trading Parada in an Ohtani deal. And it's the only guy I'm trading Parada for.
Yeah.
It would be like a Parada, Beatty, Mauricio pitcher or two. I've said it 18,000 times.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think when you look at the guys out there that actually make sense for, the Mets via trade, Parada, I don't want to see him dealt at all. So I think that only fair argument probably would be Ohtani at this juncture. Of course, things can change over time, but right now I'd say Ohtani is like the only true exception, as you alluded to. Let's see, Mac and Thrift, thank you for the donation. He says, insane parallel, Lindor, Correa, and Jeter, and Ass-Rod. That's funny.
Jeter's more of an ass than
Can you
A-Rod.
just think where this Mets team would be at if A-Rod and J-Lo bought this team? Like, can you just think about
Who needs J-Lo? You got Kate Upton, baby.
Yeah, but no, I'm saying, like, think about
And you got Steve Cohen.
think about how much this team would be just like the Bullpen still if they were under A-Rod and J-Lo. They had to get so many other people to come in to get ownership done to begin with, a lot of other athletes. You had Bradley Beal talking shit on Steve Cohen on social media just to try to help stir things and favor J-Lo and A-Rod to actually become the majority owners of the Mets. Like, there was so much shady shit they were trying to do to get Cohen down. Man, I mean, I remember the reports about A-Rod as well, saying that they really wanted to make it more of an entertainment aspect at Citi Field, which I know
think Steve Cohen did that with Timmy fucking Trumpets, by the way.
Yeah, but they want to make it more of an entertainment aspect where like baseball wasn't just the priority, where it wasn't maybe the number one priority. And that was a big red flag to me. And also they broke up not long after. So just imagine that controversy, that nonsense us Mets fans would have had to deal with.
Then we would have had Ben Affleck. I mean, he would have been in on the Mets. And we would have been the Red Sox. We would have been cheap bucks.
Yeah.
Would have been bargain bin shopping like the Boston Red Sox. By the way,
literally.
Thank God Chaim Bloom. When the Mets hired Brody, I'm talking years ago, I wanted Chaim. And when Brody came, I was on board because he had the edge, he had the cockiness. And look, say what you want about Brody Van Wagenen. His free agent sucked. He's responsible for Edwin Diaz. He also made a great trade for J.D. Davis.
I'm not going to lie. Brody Van Wagenen actually did a pretty good job considering what he was dealing with.
I blame the Wilpons way more than I blame Brody. And I think Brody and Steve Cohen have a pretty good relationship. Brody's at Citi Field more than you'd expect.
Yes. I see photos of him there all the time, actually.
Yeah,
it's funny.
I don't hate on Brody, but Chaim was the guy I wanted.
Yep.
And Chaim, and maybe he's strapped like Brody was. Maybe Chaim is just strapped with the ownership in Boston. But, I mean, the Boston Red Sox, they're the Boston bargain bin shoppers. It's embarrassing to see the Red Sox do what they're doing.
If they let Devers walk, assuming he's not traded, because that's another thing with the Devers situation. I just don't see a world where Boston will be willing to take on that much bad PR from one offseason. You're going to tell me you didn't just lose Xander Bogaerts, but that you lost Devers as well? Like, there's no chance in hell. That's why I don't expect Devers to be dealt until the trade deadline at bare minimum. And if not, if he still walks next offseason, though, my goodness.
Would you trade Parada for Juan Soto? Does a bear shit in the woods? Yes. And I would trade a player to be named later, being my firstborn son as well. Parada and Joe Jr. circa 2028.
Let's get the Juan Soto to Mets hype train up and going. A couple years away. It's still reality. 2025 offseason, baby. Stay tuned.
Alvarez or Narvaez? I mean, I don't even like the Narvaez signing. So Alvarez, no brainer. Let's see. Did I miss
again? Though I think Narvaez in part did the sign with the Mets. The Mets made that decision to kind of help Alvarez. I think that was
to let him DH.
Yeah. No, but I mean, being a fellow Venezuelan.
Oh, Venezuelan.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit more of a factor than what some people realize. I do. Speaking of Narvaez, I wonder if he's going to play for Team Venezuela then in the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah, I don't know. Hey, Saint Vintage, I wanted to answer your thing from about 3 minutes ago. Do you think a guy like Connor Joe would have helped? I think you might have asked this last show as well, and we didn't get to it. Possible. Last year, at the end of the day, we lacked pop. I'm not a big fan. I think, he had the Coors Field inflation. But it's possible that last year that would have been the case. This year, I just think he's, not to sound like an elitist, but I think he's a little beneath us right now.
Yeah. No, I agree with you
a
on
little
that
better,
one.
I think.
Yeah, just a little bit better.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, we don't get a Connor Joe, we get a Carlos Correa.
Connor Joe might have been a good starter girl for him, but now we're only looking at prom queens and Sports Illustrated cover girls.
Exactly. We're on our Kate Upton shit right now is what we're on.
Literally. Even though I was always more of a Brooklyn Decker guy. Love Brooklyn Decker.
Which shortstop prospect is now tradable, Jet or Ronnie? I don't think Jet Williams is going to get traded. I think the Mets really, really like Jet Williams, actually. So I don't know. I don't know. Again,
Yeah,
it's
I
very
think
premature.
I feel like Ronnie would just because he's big league ready now. I firmly believe. I think Ronnie would be the guy involved in a massive trade. Because if we sent Ronnie Mauricio to the Angels, again, just going to use the Ohtani thing, like he's playing right now.
Yep.
He's playing right now.
Here, we'll take a couple more, and then I think it'll be best to wrap up the show.
Yeah,
I don't want to get.
Let's wrap by
too long.
3:30. What do you think? I got Austin Eckler coming on Sorello Sports Talk.
Yes. Shout out to you guys. Make sure to check out Joe at Sorello Sports Talk. Always having an awesome guest, usually every week or so. Whether it's a former or current NFL player, whether it's an athlete from a different sport. I mean, he's always having those great interviews. So make sure to check it out with Austin Eckler. That's gonna be a big one.
Best infield ever, probably. Yeah, I mean, everyone multiple-time All-Star. Yeah, Jet Williams, second baseman of the future. I could see that. I don't want to let Keto Risings had some really good comments. I don't want to let McNeil go ever. I mean, a batting title. I know we're in the age of OPS, and Kyle Schwarber, 40 home runs, batting 210, is considered an all-star. But I still think there's something to be said for a guy who doesn't strike out and who can get a batting title. So I don't want to see McNeil go, and I think Jet Williams is young enough that he could be McNeil's successor. Mauricio is just he's ready. He's ready.
Yeah. Yep, no, that's a fair point. Jet is really interesting to me too, because he's a guy that a lot of people believe has those McNeil-esque qualities, and he's a speed demon too. So there's a lot of appeal with him for sure.
No McGill. I don't know what the McGill thing is in reference to. I would send him to the Angels in that deal. He grew up an Angel fan too.
Well, yeah. You should know. You literally got a chance to meet his mom when you were at the Angels-Mets game.
I watched an inning of him pitch next to his mother.
Yep.
And by the way, when I say I would trade McGill, it's not an insult at all. I love McGill. Right now, he's our 7th starter. He'd go to the Angels rotation tomorrow.
Would he though? I don't think that's as accurate as their rotation.
They do a 6-man rotation.
Yeah, maybe he could slip in maybe as a number 5 there. But here's the thing: I don't think the Mets are going to trade a McGill for. Basically, because I think that they're going to trade Carrasco. So I really think
I don't think so.
I think so. I do.
Jeremy D with a dono and a really good question if you want to pull that up, Wardy.
Yeah, let's get to it. Jeremy, thank you for the
question
dono.
Might be too old for you.
No, think this team is better than the Beltran Wright Delgado team. No, I know plenty about that team. I didn't watch it live when it was happening, obviously, but I've done my homework since then. So I'll leave this to you because I know that you got a chance to really grow up and savor everything that was happening with those core 3.
Yeah, that's one of the best lineups I've ever seen. And it's not even a core 3. I mean, that lineup from 2006, you had Reyes leading off. You had LaDuca catching and hitting second. I believe he hit like 316 that year. 3 to 5 was, I believe, Beltran, Delgado, Wright. Wright was a 5-hitter back then, eventually a 3-hitter. 6, 7, 8 was a mix of their right fielder, Xavier Nady for the first half, then Sean Green, Jose Valentin, and Cliff Floyd. Cliff Floyd was the 6th.
Yes, shout out Cliff. We love Cliff. Yep.
Love Cliff Floyd. That was one of the best lineups I've ever seen. That team could not pitch. Pedro was at the end. Tom Glavine was at the end. El Duque was good, got hurt towards the end. John Maine was still coming up. Ali Perez was hit or miss. I mean, there were starts. Ali Perez was untouchable. There were starts. He was like Blake Snell.
Yeah.
Ali Perez was like Blake Snell.
Okay.
That lineup. I mean, you had 3 40 home run guys. Right? Like you had Beltran 41, which tied the Met record until Alonso broke it in 2019. You had Delgado, I think, hit 40. And then I think Wright had like 38. I mean, you had 3 40 home run guys in that lineup. I'll give 06 the lineup. And Reyes stealing 73 bags up top, and LaDuca. Back then, a 2-hitter. Now a 2-hitter is like your best hitter. Back then, a 2-hitter was a contact guy.
Yeah.
Because it was your leadoff. Now leadoff is OBP. Like Schwarber's a leadoff hitter. I mean, blows my mind. Leadoff back then, and all of our older guys, they know this. Like leadoff back then was speed, and your number 2 hitter was a contact guy who didn't strike out, who could always move the guy over. I'll take 06's lineup. But the pitching was abysmal. Really good bullpen. Donner Sanchez got in that cab accident, and that really screwed up their season. I'll take that lineup. I'll take this team as a whole, though. Because the lineups are close, this team's pitching, I think, is going to be so much better. So I'll take 2022, 2023 Mets over 06, 07, 08.
Yeah, it's going to be so damn exciting to watch this team all year round and just hope that they perform to their potential, especially with the two-headed monster at the top of the rotation. How healthy will they be able to stay and consistent down the stretch? I mean, that's really the biggest questions we have now. From an offensive standpoint, I mean, I think we're just about to get ready for a team that was better than last year, and the Mets still want one more bat too. Bullpen already looks really, really good. And if they get Hendricks, then it becomes the best in baseball. So many great things with the Metropolitans going on right now. But Jeremy, thank you again for that donation. And guys, I think that's a great time to wrap up the show. This was episode 39 of Bleav in Queens. Myself, Wardy. Make sure to check me out on the YouTube channel. If you're listening wherever you get your audio podcast, make sure to rate and review and listen. Check me out at WardyNYM on Twitter, of course, too. Joe Serralo, make sure to check him out at the Serralo Sports Talk. Serralo Sports Talk for his podcast, and the Joe Serralo on Twitter if you want to check out all of his takes, where he's coming out with great bet picks and whatever you want to hear of his sports takes there.
Ooh, do I have a bet today for everyone?
Oh,
y'all want to bet? Comment in the chat if y'all want to bet today.
Let's see. Yeah, we'll do it live right now in the chat. If you guys want to see Joe do a hot, spicy bet pick of the day, which is bound to be completely wrong, then make sure to
go
fuck in the chat.
Dude, that bad beat yesterday with Arizona minus 21.5 against Montana State. They win by 21. Oh man. College football. I don't like that number at 4. Let's see. I like VTech.
They want to pick, so you got to get a pick out there.
The people want to pick. Utah's a tough son of a gun at home. Washington, maybe. All right, folks. We're going to take it to college hoops. And we are going to go. Ooh. All right, we'll have this in 30 seconds, Wardy. You want to provide some filler?
Yeah. So as Joe is contemplating what is the best pick of the night for college basketball, I just want to let you all know once more that today's show again was brought to you by BetOnline. So thank you so much for BetOnline for being a great sponsor here on the channel, and of course for the Bleav in Queens podcast. And guys, make sure to stay tuned on YouTube. We're coming out with daily content per usual. Have surpassed 20,000 subscribers, so we're going to be doing a big giveaway on the YouTube channel and a singular live stream in the near future of a Justin Verlander, a Kodai Senga, or now that he is a Met, a Carlos Correa jersey. So whichever the random winner that I pick in a live stream in the near future on the channel, I'll make sure it's noted on the community tab. And of course, just let you guys know in future videos and live streams when we're going to do it. Whatever winner I pick, you guys will have the luxury of picking from 3 different options of a jersey you would like. Whatever big move the Mets made this offseason that entices you the most. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Again, we will be picking one random winner in an active live stream, kind of like what we're doing right now, but it'll be separate, probably separate from the podcast on WardyNYM. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait to get one of those jerseys out there to one of you lucky listeners.
That was genius, Wardy. Arizona State -3 at San Francisco. The Sun Devils are rolling. They're 11-1 on the year. They've won 9 in a row, 8-4 against the spread. San Fran's lost 3 of 5. They've only covered 5 of 12 on the year. I know it's a road favorite. I usually love a home dog, but you know what? Pac-12 basketball right now is trending in the right direction. Sun Devils -3 at San Francisco.
You heard it from the man himself. Sun Devils at -3. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Carlos Correa's a New York Met, and the Mets still aren't done making moves, baby. We'll be back again soon. And until then, have a great rest of your day, night, evening. Let's go Mets, baby. Peace out.